Hi, welcome back to 1/6 RC Tank Workshop. In this video I'll be looking at the rear stowage bin on the Tiger 1. I already have one of these stowage bins semi-complete, but it's from the old 2005 release and has a white metal top and bottom, and I was never really happy with it. While at the recent factory open day I was going through their parts bins. They have a lot of possibly excess or seconds parts, and I found some of the components for a new bin. And this is from the later release with aluminium top and bottom. So let's have a look and see how we'll put some detail into this. But first I'll show you what you basically get to complete the kit. So here's the basic kit components. This is pre-bent into shape. Steel. A bottom section. Top section. And you get two lids. They're just flat steel lids. Absolutely no detail. There's no latches to close them. And they fit in place with a couple of small hinges. As I said, I bought this one for not much at the open day. So there was a minor problem with it in that it didn't fit well together. I had to grind off some of the metal on the sides of this. The top fitted fine, but now it's okay. I have some etched latches to fit. So in this video I'll show you how I make these. Also, I'll be adding quite a lot of these small rivets. These are 3/64 inch rivets. 3/64 by 1/4. You could probably use 1/32 rivets. They look more scale, but I like the size of these ones. And I'll replace these lids with brass lids, but I'll shape them. So I'll show you how I do that as well. Before assembling anything, I'm going to scribe out a line where I want my rivets to be and mark them out and drill them, the top rivets. They don't really serve any function, they're just decorative. So I'll put the top rivets in before assembling anything. I'm scribing a line roughly 2.5 millimeters. While scribing that line, I can see where one point was on this being an incorrect turret box. This corner should be square. So before I do anything, I'll square that off. I'm going to mark out roughly where I want to put my rivets. I like to use a marker or a pen to just mark out roughly where my rivets are going to be. These lines here mark where the brackets to attach to the rear of the turret will be, so there'll be no rivets in this area. But you can see I've marked out where I'm going to drill my holes. I'll just continue along the edge now and come back to you in a sec. I hope you can see now where I've marked out where I'm going to drill for rivets. These sections are where the brackets go, and the blue line is where my lid will be. I'm using this book by Thomas Jens and Hilary Doyle as a reference. There's not really any good photographs showing the rivet detail, but I'm trying to follow the pattern that's in this diagram. Small holes to drill the small holes for the rivets, I'm using my baby milling machine. I don't recommend this milling machine for Armortek models. It's good for very small detail parts, but not very good if you're trying to do something larger. The maximum mill cutter is a 3 mil, but it's good for using small drills because it has a very high speed. It's not as noisy as my big milling machine. I've drilled out all my holes on the top of the bin using a 1.2mm drill bit. And next I'll just super glue rivets into each hole. I've fitted all the rivets in the top part and also at the side and a couple at the front. When I cross here, I'll have to start going through the steel as well. Here's how the box goes together. I've already filed some, but I will file it again when it's all finally put together. What I will do you could use milliput. I'm using this Abro steel. It's another 2-part epoxy, and I'm going to put some on the inside so that when it squeezes together it'll come out through the edge and I can file it down and make it nice and neat. I fitted the bottom panel and I used this product Abro steel as a filler. It did the job of filling quite okay, but I don't think I'd use it again. I think I'd stick to milliput. The problem with this is you need it like milliput. You put it on, but it goes off so quickly. It's almost hard before you can work on it. So I would stick with milliput. You can see here how I've filed off the edge and it's nice and neat now. Paint over that and it'll be quite good. A step back to the earlier part I did with the riveting. I said I riveted along the side. Not so bad on this side. I had actually filed this side down, but I forgot that I hadn't filed this side down and put the rivets in here. So it needed to be filed down more, so I had to file the rivets off basically. So my advice is go ahead, do the top rivets, leave the side rivets and front rivets until you've got the box together. For the top part of the box, I will be using milliput. I put a bead of milliput along the inside edge of the roof fitting and then pressed them in. And this has pushed the milliput through. So now I can just scrape away the excess. I'm now happy with the finish on the third bin. So I can start adding more rivets. Here you can see I've completed the rivets around the front and around the side. I've added some more milliput where needed to cover some screws. Just waiting for that to go off. It's going together fairly well. Be prepared if you're doing this to have plenty of drill bits. I broke a few drill bits. I think they tend to snag in the aluminium. I'm using my little Proxon bandsaw to cut a template for the lid. So this is the template I've made for making the lids. You could simply use aluminium and make a couple of lids out of the aluminium, and it'll fit like that. But I'm going to use this as a former for making brass lids. Now I've got my piece of brass over the former, and I'm just folding the curved edge. And next one of the sides. And that's the lids formed. Next will be to fit hinges. So I'll be soldering the hinges to the lids, and they'll screw in then to the original fitting holes. But I'll use much smaller screws. And then just the catches on the front. So I showed you the lids that I've made. I've also ground down the stepped part on the top of the lid here where the hinge is fitted onto the flat metal. And I've made my own hinges, which will fit roughly like this. They're actually of a bent shape. So I'll solder these hinges onto the lids and screw them into the frame of the box. For soldering, it's important that the parts are really clean. So I buff everything up with one of these sanding pads. I've tinned the area on the lid, and I'm also going to tin the hinge. Soldered into place here. As I'm fitting my own hinges, I won't be using the existing hinge mounts. So I've plugged up the holes with M3 screws, which I've filed down. So here we have the bin lids in place. The hinges have been welded onto the lids. I've drilled holes to take 10 BA countersunk screws, which are held in place inside with small 10 BA nuts. The original holes I've filled and ground down, and I'll use the existing mounts for attaching to the turret. I'll use a small head M3 screw. Here are some of the tiny pieces that make up the latches for the bin. This piece you need to bend over fairly centrally. The holes are very small, so I usually just start them off with a pin first. This small piece, just bend over the part here. You need to put a slight bend in this part. It's through the second hole. That's pretty much the latch made. Next, I'll just bend the pin down. And snap away the excess. And that's the latch made. For the third bin, this will easily solder into place. I'm sure you could use pens. I'm not too sure if glue will work, but solder is the best way to do it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you found it interesting and useful. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also the like button. And please leave comments. I'll try to get back to all comments. Here's the bin finished. Lids fitted. Latches fitted. To hold the latches, I've also made some small padlocks. These latches tend to spring open. So just fit the padlocks on. I've made new fittings to attach to the rear of the turret. And these are the original fittings. And here's the turret bin in place. It's held on with M3 screws, but they're a reduced head M3 screw. And see the padlocks hold the latches closed. Just to mention again, with regard to the rivets, there is a slight overhang on the aluminium top and bottom. So I filed most of this down smooth before fitting the rivets. If you fit the rivets to the top before doing any filing, you'll still have the overhang, so you'll probably waste your time. It's worth doing some of the filing before you do the rivets. Here's the original Tiger bin that came with my turret. This one is the white metal top and bottom, but there is a significant weight difference between the two, probably twice the weight. So I much prefer to use the newer version with the aluminium top and bottom. This turret is already very heavy, and I'll be putting full gun detail inside, so there will be a lot of extra weight added to the turret. I will, however, complete this bin as well. Hopefully it won't lead to another Tiger. Another item to work on soon will be these smoke launchers. These are the kit smoke launchers. I probably won't use them. I'll probably make my own more detailed version. Also, these are my grenade launchers. They're just white metal chunks. They're pretty clunky. I'll probably make my own ones. So that'll be a video coming soon. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll put up a couple of links to other videos and just a short photo gallery.